Hello everyone. Today we're going to cover quite a number of issues, so we'll best guide you on what's going to be happening into the short term. Now, Metrobank has actually reversed its downtrend. We've noticed quite a bit of a decline coming all the way towards November, and we've seen a bottoming pattern around this area here frame itself before climbing back up. Now, we've had quite a bit of a surge. We've seen prices go from 64 pesos per share to about 84 pesos per share, and we've done that in roughly a month and a half's time. Now, normally when we get swings like that, there might be some pause points necessary for the stock, and because of that, we've already seen a little bit of a pullback begin itself, and we think that there could be a little bit more consolidation time here. But so far, so good. Prices managed to stay above their moving average, and this should be able to keep Metrobank afloat for now, but perhaps a little bit more winding may be necessary. I think better purchases would be closer between 77 and 75, and if we do see prices pull back there, that might give you the opportunity you're waiting for. Hang on for now. I don't think anything large will come off, any big declines for the moment, unless, of course, major support at 75 is broken. Security Bank. Now, Security Bank has actually come off a decline as well. However, perhaps not as strong as some of the other banks we've seen, like Metrobank, BPI, and the BDO. But it seems to be quite steady in its advance, and my expectations to actually see a price channel develop. I'll draw the channel for you. So the channel pattern that we're seeing could keep prices within a tight range. Right now, the range on the upper end would be about 190 pesos, and the lower end of that range closer to about 164 or 165. So by assuming that range to be intact, then you want to be buying closer to the lower end of that range and trying to take a little bit of profits coming off the top end of that range and wait for things to be able to accelerate later on. I also see some momentum weakness coming, so that should be able to keep the channel very much intact and not to anticipate too much of a forceful push outward of that resistance immediately. So take it little by little, and no need to be too aggressive as of yet. China Bank. Now, China Bank is attempting to make a reversal pattern. It's still very early in doing so, and because of that, I would anticipate that you will still feel a lot of heaviness in terms of selling action. Usually, it could take a month or two to be able to finish off any more supply that's still existing above that. But I think in due time they should do it. I think an exhaustive amount of a decline has already taken place. If you can see the decline it's had since almost the beginning of 2018, I think you probably see something a little bit turn out a little better maybe in the next 1 or 2 months time for China Bank. So for those value purchasers there, you might want to pick up some. Just do it more gradually, because normally from here it takes time to accumulate more shares before the reversal is actually confirmed. Okay, BDO. I've noticed that BDO and BPI seems to be sharing a very common pattern. They seem to be cascading into a pattern near resistance. And right now the consolidation continues with BDO. And what I would do here is, if I have it, I probably would hold the position right now unless this low over here is broken, which is closer to about 125.50. So maybe you just want to be able to sit tight in this pattern, and let's hope that a breakout takes place here to be able to escalate our target, which could probably raise it maybe closer to maybe 140, maybe even possibly 147. So we're chancing the potential breakout range here. Just put the protective stop at 125.50, and that should be able to manage any risk we take by holding on to that position. Let's have a look at PNB. Now, PNB has also broken out of the downtrend lines. The first time it's done that in quite a long time, after making a little bit of a pattern over here. So that should be able to present some turnaround potential for the stock. However, momentum is slowing down, and I think this is probably going to take its time. If you saw what happened in BDO and BPI, and you did see quite a bit of a consolidation happen before they turned, you might probably want to be able to see something like that, especially as this comes closer to the 200-day moving average. And seeing that closer to 46.44, we might get some problems coming closer to that area. So wait for a little bit more wind up for PNB. I would actually see that there will probably get more activity in the main banks before these things move. But unless there's a particular story that may be driving the particular movement, I think you probably would want to see the lead come from the main banks before attempting to move back into PNB. For now, you might want to hold it for the meantime. Just if you want to add on to it, wait for reactions. And right now, support should be closer to about 43 to about 43.20. So that might be better areas for you to be able to pick up shares of this. DNL. Now, DNL has actually gone up quite strikingly in the short term. And in about less than a month's time, the stock had to climb closer from about 10.20 all the way up to about 11.85. And that clearly puts on a very overbought reading in the stock, and you might really want to be a little bit more defensive right now and hold off from any buying until prices can whip back towards support. And just to be able to measure off what that risk level can be, if you can see where prices are compared to where support will probably be, which is closer to about 11, that could be 50 cents off risk that you may have to deal with if you're going to be entering right now. So I'd like to probably wait a little longer for prices to settle down at a much more comfortable level. But looking at the bigger picture, I think DNL will probably channel up as well. And if we were to look at an image like this for potential range, you will see already the disparity before prices are and how far down it could go, just in case we do see a full-size correction. So wait for prices to settle in first before buying more of this. MAX. Now, MAX is also working off into a reversal pattern. Now, I don't anticipate that this will probably pick up too aggressively as of yet because I don't see too much of an accumulation pattern. An accumulation pattern would be a pattern that you'd see a tightening of a range closer to the base, and that's not so far what we've seen. All that we've confirmed is that the potential reversal is there, but now an accumulation period might be settling in before we see any more heavier movements inside. So I would actually wait for some pullback action also for MAX. It would be nice to be able to see it come closer to about 11.30 or maybe 11.20 for a potential buy-in. But I think after that, you might see some wind-up still be preparing itself before attempting to be able to wrestle upwards. Hopefully, we can see MAX recover back maybe closer to about 13.80, maybe even 14 pesos per share. SSI. Now, August to November seemed like a very good period for the recovery in SSI, but I've seen a little bit of that recovery weaken somewhat right now. Now, unfortunately, we've seen a bit of a trend line break, and the trend line break may cause a little bit more of a lengthier consolidation for the stock into the short term. Right now, it seems to be building a rectangular pattern, and that pattern is building itself between about 2 pesos and 30 cents with a high side of about 2 pesos and 55 cents. So we'll be watching that range quite closely. If prices can hold off into this range, then fine. But if we do see anything soften below that range low, then we might see the need for SSI to drop down a little bit more. For you technical traders out there, if you want to really get aggressive, we probably have to wait for the 255 to break on the top side, and that will renew its upward bias, and that will be able to enable us to be able to start picking up more shares more aggressively. Jollibee. Now, Jollibee has done actually quite well after hitting a double bottom here from July and sometime mid-October. We've seen Jollibee come up in a very steadfast fashion. We'll put in a channel for you to be able to estimate its range. Alright, so the channel that you see here will be the channel we'll be using to be able to gauge exit and entry movements for Jollibee. Right now, major support is back at 300. And so if we can see a pullback there, that might be an opportunity for you to do some range trading. Your MACD is already telling me a lot of momentum weakness has already been shown, and so that's more likely going to correct. And you want to be able to make sure that if you have an excess amount of that, maybe it might be good to do some lightening for the meantime. You want to be able to purchase it back when support structures are hit. So 300 to about maybe 300 and maybe 290 might be more optimum areas to watch out for eventual buybacks for Jollibee.